There's a voice in your head. It narrates your life like a slightly drunk sports commentator who has zero chill and way too many opinions. Sometimes it's supportive, you got this. Other times it's wildly unhelpful. You forgot to say goodbye to that one person at the shops and now they probably think you hate them and you should move to another country. Here's the thing. That voice, it's your brain. Or more specifically, the noisy, twitchy thoughts your brain throws at you 24/7 like a toddler flinging spaghetti. Most of us live our lives tangled in our thoughts, believing every ridiculous thing that the voice says without question. But what if you didn't have to take your brain so seriously? What if you gave it a name, like Kevin, or Janice, or Bob, and started treating it like the eccentric roommate it clearly is? This video is about doing exactly that, naming your brain as a tool to externalize your thoughts, find emotional distance, and turn a chaotic inner monologue into something you can actually work with. It's a little goofy, a little therapeutic, and surprisingly effective. So buckle up and say hello to the weirdest life hack you didn't know you needed: befriending your brain. Meet your brain, a character study. Your brain is a piece of meat with electricity in it, and it sometimes runs your entire life. Let that sink in. This jiggly blob inside your skull is the CEO of your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, and that weird dream you had where you were dating a frog in a trench coat. It's brilliant and bonkers at the same time. Most of us treat our thoughts like facts. If your brain says, "You looked weird in that photo," you accept it as truth. If it screams, "Everyone hates you," you believe it like it was written in the sky. But the truth is, your brain is not always right. In fact, it's frequently wrong, dramatic, and prone to spirals. It's less a reliable narrator and more of a chaotic gremlin with Wi-Fi. That's why naming it helps. When you think of your brain as a separate character, you stop identifying so strongly with its nonsense. Suddenly, you're not anxious. Kevin is being dramatic again. You're not lazy. Kevin just doesn't want to fold laundry today. It gives you perspective, and it gives you power. Why you should name it. Naming your brain is like giving your internal chaos a silly little costume. It sounds absurd, but it actually comes from a legit psychological strategy called externalization. Used in cognitive behavioral therapy and narrative therapy, externalization helps people view their problems as separate from their identity. Instead of saying, "I'm anxious," you say, "Anxiety is showing up again." This subtle shift makes a huge difference. It allows you to respond to your thoughts rather than getting bulldozed by them. When you name your brain, let's go with Kevin for this video, you get to say, "Okay, Kevin, settle down. We're not spiraling over an Instagram story today." Suddenly, your thoughts become less threatening. You can laugh at them. You can talk back. You can even thank Kevin when he has a point. He's not the enemy, he's just not in charge. Plus, there's something incredibly cathartic about blaming Kevin for your mental chaos. Kevin made us stay up until 2 a.m. Googling whether headaches mean brain tumours. Classic Kevin. Your brain is a circus. Let's be honest. Your brain is weird. It stores random SpongeBob quotes from 2006 but forgets where you put your keys. It replays cringe moments from high school like it's running a trauma theatre. It tells you to eat kale one day and devour family-sized pizza the next. The inconsistency is stunning. It also does that fun thing where it won't shut up during important moments, like when you're trying to fall asleep and your brain is like, "Remember that time in 3rd grade when you called your teacher mum?" Giving your brain a name doesn't stop the madness, but it does make it funnier. When your brain starts playing the anxiety hits playlist at full volume, you get to say, "Kevin, can you not? I'm trying to sleep." It doesn't fix everything, but it takes the edge off. It turns out, the more we observe our brains instead of getting swept away by them, the better we feel. Naming helps you observe. It makes you curious, and it gives you just enough emotional space to say, "Hey, maybe Kevin doesn't need to be in charge of my life decisions today." The good side of Kevin. Your brain isn't all chaos and doom scrolling. Sometimes Kevin is actually helpful. He remembers your passwords. He reminds you to wear deodorant. He tells decent jokes and sometimes solves big problems while you're in the shower. Kevin also tries to protect you. When he spirals into worry, it's because he thinks danger is near. When he replays awkward moments, he's trying to help you avoid them next time. The methods are messy, but the intentions are not evil. So while it's easy to roast Kevin for being annoying, it's also important to acknowledge that he's trying. Naming your brain isn't about turning it into a villain. It's about befriending the overzealous intern who keeps pulling that fire alarm. Once you can appreciate Kevin's quirks, you start building a relationship with him. Not a toxic one, but a partnership. You and Kevin, navigating this weird life together. The war zone, when Kevin loses it. Let's talk about the real chaos. The overthinking, the anxiety, the mental spirals that make you question everything from your outfit to your life purpose. This is when Kevin goes full panic mode and starts throwing hypothetical disasters at the wall to see what sticks. What if you said something offensive in that conversation 5 days ago? What if your friends secretly hate you? What if you never succeed and end up living in a van eating cold beans? Sound familiar? This is where naming your brain becomes most useful. Instead of internalizing all that panic, you can externalize it. You say, Kevin is spiraling today. That's fine. We'll let him panic in the back seat, but he's not driving. You don't have to fix everything Kevin says. You just have to notice it, name it, and decide what's worth engaging with. It's like sorting your thoughts into piles. Helpful, unhelpful, and Kevin needs a snack and a nap. Talking back to your brain. Here's where the fun begins. Once you've named your brain, you can start talking back to it, like out loud, in the mirror, in your notes app, or quietly at the grocery store while people give you weird looks and slowly push the trolley away from you. No, Kevin, we are not quitting our job to become alpaca farmers in Peru. Thanks for the suggestion, Kevin, but we do not need to rewatch that breakup text for the 15th time. Kevin, you are being deeply dramatic and need to calm down before we start crying in the post office again. This isn't just silliness, it's self-awareness in disguise. When you interrupt your thoughts with humour and logic, you take away their megaphone. You stop being a passive passenger and start driving the brain bus. Bad metaphors and all. Talking to your brain also helps you hear how absurd some of the thoughts actually are. You'll start catching things like, if I don't respond to this text in the perfect tone, my friend will leave me forever and move to Canada. And realise, oh, that's Kevin talking. Not reality, not facts, just Kevin doing improv with no script and way too much caffeine. Training Kevin. Real life implementation. Okay, so how do you actually do this in your daily life without feeling like a complete weirdo? Step 1. Pick a name. It should feel slightly silly. It helps it if it makes you laugh. Kevin, Susan, Gerald, anything works. Just don't pick your own name. That gets confusing. Bonus points if it sounds like someone who would absolutely overreact about a text left on read. Step 2. Notice the voice. Start paying attention to your thoughts, especially the negative ones or spirally ones. Catch that moment when your brain suddenly panics because someone took too long to reply, or when it decides your day is ruined because you tripped in public. Step 3. Label it. Ah, Kevin. It's chiming in again. Boom. Distance achieved. Now, it's not you freaking out, it's Kevin doing his dramatic monologue again. Step 4. Respond with curiosity or kindness. Thanks, Kevin. Noted, but I think we're okay. Sometimes it's, I hear you, but let's not set everything on fire today. It's less about silencing him and more about acknowledging him like a toddler who's just discovered the word why. Step 5. Practice. It takes time. Kevin's not going to stop overnight, But the more you notice and respond, the quieter he gets. Or at least the easier it becomes to roll your eyes at him and carry on with your day. You can also write Kevin letters, journal your conversations, draw comics about him, make him a Sims character, put him in a hoodie and give him a questionable mustache. The goal isn't to make Kevin go away, it's to build a better relationship with your brain, to understand him, not erase him, and if nothing else, you'll get some quality entertainment out of it. When you befriend your brain. Something magical happens when you stop fighting your brain and start talking to it. The chaos doesn't vanish, but it becomes manageable. You realise you can experience anxiety without becoming anxiety. You can have intrusive thoughts without obeying them. You can let Kevin rant without letting him ruin your day. It's like learning to live with a noisy neighbour. You might still hear him blasting conspiracy podcasts at 2 a.m, but you no longer feel the urge to move houses because of it. You start to build trust with yourself. You begin recognising the difference between your voice and Kevin's, and you learn to pause, assess, and choose what your thoughts deserve attention. You realise that your mind is a mess, sure, but it's your mess. And it's kind of beautiful in its own way. A weird, overgrown garden that occasionally sprouts memes and existential dread. You and Kevin become a team, not a perfect one, but a functional one. Like a buddy cop duo where one of you is panicking and the other is holding the snacks. You stop treating your brain like a dictator and start treating it like a friend with too much caffeine and a lot of feelings. And somehow that makes all the difference. Give Kevin a chance. Your brain is never going to be quiet. It's never going to be completely rational. It's going to have weird ideas, unhelpful thoughts, emotional meltdowns, and intrusive nonsense. That's just what brains do. Expecting perfect peace from your mind is like expecting a toddler to sit still in a candy store. It's just not built for that. But if you give it a name, a face, a personality, suddenly you're not at war anymore. You're in conversation. And conversations are easier to manage than inner battles. You stop trying to silence the chaos and start learning how to dance with it. This isn't about pretending everything is fine or turning your thoughts into a sitcom. It's about creating space. Humour softens the blow. Curiosity opens the door, and naming your brain, that's your way of saying, hey, I see you. Let's figure this out together. So, name your brain. Laugh at it. Talk to it. Thank it. Roast it. Befriend it. Make it weird. Make it yours. And when it inevitably spirals at 2 a.m, just roll over and whisper, Kevin, not tonight. We've got stuff to do in the morning.